Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'm set up for a Zoom meeting with the Midland Bonsai Society in Birmingham, England. It's been just over a year since I met with Alex and we did an informal question and answer session.
So yeah, thanks for joining us again, Nigel.
Oh, it's hard to believe it's been a year, Alex.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just the years fly by.
And have you noticed any sort of popularity in bonsai with the whole lockdown thing, or people have been at home more?
Yeah, I have. I know our club personally, we've kind of almost doubled our club in the last kind of couple of years. And even before COVID, it was coming on strong, our club. And I don't know why. I think
much of that's to do with you.
It could be, maybe a little bit, but I find there's a lot of young people getting into bonsai, which is exciting. And unexpected, but it's kind of cool. Yeah, we've got a lot of new members and a lot of young people. Maybe it's just that I'm getting old and they look young. Because, when I joined the club, I was young, but now I'm becoming one of the senior members of the club, I guess. Well, that was it. I was talking to the Midland Bonsai Society in the United Kingdom. Alex hosted the meeting. It was a fantastic meeting, and I enjoyed talking with everyone. It is the next day today, and it was supposed to rain starting in the morning, and that's what it's been doing. It's been pouring all morning. I've got my Serissa out there in the studio ready to be worked on. I'll show you that over here. So today I'm going to give it a pruning once the rain stops. You can see how much it's grown, quite a bit. All the indoor leaves have pretty well fallen off now. You can see the big yellow ones in there. I hope you can see them. Maybe they've all fallen off. You can see them underneath the tree. Yeah, the leaves that grew indoors were quite large. Here's an example of one here. There, compared to the outdoor ones, which are usually quite small. So I'm going to prune it today, and since 2016, so 5 years ago, I've been separating the canopy into foliage pads, or I would say, what would I call it? Branch definition, defining each branch as a separate kind of pad or branch. And I'm going to try and further work on that today. And my goal from the side view here, or not the side view, the front view, is to get separation between the pads, so there's space between them so you can see through the tree a bit. That's my goal, and I can show you some pictures of that, of what I want to do. So that gives you an idea of my goals for this tree. So it's growing really well. It's doing really well outdoors. I kept this tree cool over the winter, and that seemed to be the best thing for it. No insect problems. It just stays dormant in the cool basement. I have a grow light on it. No insect problems. It doesn't grow. It just sits there dormant. And then when I brought it up into the warm plant room, it just started growing. And so I think the winter dormancy was really good for the tree. Because we were due for rain today, I moved all my succulents into the greenhouse for the night so they wouldn't get rained on all day. So I'll show you that. So I'm in the greenhouse here. I fit as many succulents as I could on the benches here, and then I've got the rest on the floor. So there's not much standing room in the greenhouse. My Brazilian rain tree, it's recovering really nicely. You can see I got a few leaves that went yellow, but that's normal with repotting. Some of the weaker, older leaves start going yellow and fall off. But you can see the tree is perked up now. The leaves have unfolded. It's resumed growing. So that's exciting. That's good. So I'll just have to take really good care of it until it fully recovers and starts growing with vigor. I see I've got a leak in my plastic up here. It drips down on the floor here. Yeah, this greenhouse, how old is it now? I think it's 7 or 8 years old. It's done a great job. I'm so glad I built it. And it was just built out of scrap material and that. So, yeah, I'm going to have to redo it. I used to have 2 beams across the roof here, and the one broke under the weight of the snow, so I just have the one. And the tubes up here are just plastic, that piping, and they kind of deform under the snow load. They're not very rigid. So I was thinking of building up this wall and maybe even insulating this wall so it doesn't get much light coming in from this direction. This is the south facing over here. Insulating this wall, building it up so there's a sloped roof on it, like a rigid roof instead of these hoops. And then, redoing the plastic, making it all way better, sealing it all up better. So yeah, if I get time, I've got so many projects on the go. My priority this year is to get the glass greenhouse up, and I'm still waiting on the cement pad to be poured for that. There is a little bit of progress on the seedlings. Do you remember the mystery seeds I got? They are starting to grow, and I can't get over there to show you them, but they're different from the Jerusalem thorn trees. And then the one tree that I thought was a hornbeam coming up, it turns out it's a maple. So I don't know how that maple seed got in the soil there, but it did. So no hornbeams yet, no other trees growing yet, just a few weeds in it, and that's about it. My baobabs are just sitting there. I don't know. Here's my theory, is that when I put that hot water in the thermos, it wasn't like boiling hot, but it was pretty hot. And I checked the next day and it was still hot. So remember how I said I felt like I was making bean soup or something instead of germinating seeds? I'm thinking that's what I did, is that I made a bean soup out of baobab seeds. So I think I overdid the heat on them, and it killed anything living in the seed. I think because I scratched the coating so much that I didn't need to get that hot of water, and it probably went into the seed and killed it instead of softening up the coating. That's my theory. So luckily I saved some of the baobab seeds from the fruits so I can try again with less intense hot water on them. Yeah, everything's greening up really nicely. Things are doing well. I should show you an update to the larch forest too. I partially defoliated the tree. So up top here you can see what's going on. You can see all the new shoots developing on the apex there. So I've got to go in there soon and thin it all. I don't want a million new branches coming out at the apex. The shoots that I didn't pinch have grown very long. You can see as I go down the tree, the shoots are long. So they could probably be pinched now, I think, or soon maybe. I've got to get them returning energy to that branch. you know, feeding the roots that feed that branch, strengthening it up, kind of balancing the vigor of the tree. But yeah, I think that operation was very successful, the partial defoliation of the larches. So that's a technique I can continue to use in the future. I should show you, I pruned my hibiscus a while back. I'm just going to show you the results of that. This is my orangey red hibiscus. It's over here. So if you look at the branches, you can see green shoots coming out everywhere on it. So that's good. A lot of new branches forming. The foliage will be very small because it's growing in the sun. So that was a success. I'm glad I got that pruned back and it's recovering and doing really well. You can see there's a lot of shoots coming out on the old wood. So that's great. The Osage orange forest looking very, very lush. Doing so well. I'm so happy that's doing well. The Schefflera, you can see all the bright new growth on it. It's also coming alive, growing really well. My bog forest over here is just growing incredibly well. The larches are just taking off, the spruces are taking off. Everything in this planting is just gaining vigor every day. It's getting stronger and stronger and just fantastic. So every tree survived that I planted, which is really good. I'm glad that happened. The acacia trees are doing well here. They're all coming out into leaf. They'll need a pruning soon to get them more compact. What else do we have? These are the silver maple. I planted them sort of in a forest. Now they're all doing well. They're also gaining vigor. This was their first root pruning and repotting. So once they're really strong, I'm just going to chop them down to, you know, kind of short stumps, maybe 6 centimeters tall, and then see what happens. They'll grow new branches and make a more compact tree. The ginkgo over here is still alive. Still not looking great, but it's still alive and green. So that's looking promising, I hope. Yeah, hopefully that'll do well for the rest of the year. The trouble, you know, when a tree's really weak like this, it may survive to fall and then it'll lose its leaves, but you got to get through the winter. That's the tough part. So I might have to, you know, bring it into the basement early and kind of baby it through the winter, not letting it freeze or anything. Yeah, and hopefully it'll grow in spring then. It's tough getting a weak tree through winter. The Frankenficus here, looking pretty incredible considering what I did to it this winter, hard pruning it back. The root base is developing really, really nicely. Yeah, I'm really happy. You know, like I said, I'm hoping, you know, to turn a tragedy when the top died on it into something positive. And so I took a cutting of it, fused it onto the top, and it's recovered really well. And it'll probably look better than it ever did someday. My small leaf linden tree here, it's got flowers all over it, or flower buds anyway. The leaves are really small this year, which is maybe a little worrying. I don't know. It's not like bursting with vigor or anything, but most of the shoots came out okay. It's flowering, which probably zaps a bit of energy off the tree, but yeah. My ficus over here, the one Ficus Fancy, the Ficus Microcarpa with all the roots and everything, it yeah, hasn't skipped a beat since repotting. It's doing really well. Good root base on it. Just got to develop the canopy more and the structure and everything. So it's really starting to rain out here. I'm gonna have to head indoors. The Serissa will have to wait until the rain stops, hopefully this afternoon. My cube is over 900 liters now. That's good. So hopefully it'll fill up before the rain stops. Only about half an hour later, the rain has stopped and the sun has come out, so I can work on the Serissa. I'm taking a look at the tree, and in a previous video I mentioned that I might style it more as a tropical umbrella or dome-shaped canopy instead of a African Acacia tree, you know, with the flat top and the pruned underneath. And you can see right now that the edges of the canopy here are starting to hang down a bit. So, you know, the branches kind of go upright and then they start drooping at the edges a bit under the weight of the foliage. Now I can prune all that away if I want to make it, you know, have that horizontal line underneath the tree. And that's usually where the giraffes or elephants come, and that's as high as they can reach to eat the leaves. And it's also a natural occurring phenomena with the tree, or characteristic, that they get, you know, flat underneath. Even some of the upper pads, you'll see if there's a separate pad, it'll be flat underneath and then a separate kind of almost triangular or dome-shaped canopy on that individual branch. So I've got to decide. Right now it is hanging down at the front. I would have to clean away a lot of this foliage so we can look in at the base of the tree and see all the branches. Right now, from the front view, all I can see is the trunk and the canopy. I can't see any branch structure at all. So yeah, it's a difficult decision. If I did make it, you know, a big dome shape, I would have the branches come down quite low, so it'd be a big semicircle dome, sort of like you know, the Brazilian rain tree looks, sort of that styling to it. But I don't know. I have a lot of tropical tree styles like that, so I'm thinking maybe I should just keep proceeding with the flat top acacia style. I think I will. I'll place the tree on my famous spinning tree bonsai turntable that Adrian made me. Like that. Now I can work on the tree on all sides really easily. On this tree, as the branches get longer, they just naturally want to droop under the weight of the foliage. So you need a very strong upright structure to get a full kind of canopy that doesn't droop down. You can see this branch here, it just wants to hang down under the weight of the foliage. And the fact that it's wet from the rain makes it even worse. They hang down even further. So I've got two options. I can either, you know, have it a tree, more of a normal looking tree where it hangs down at the edges, or I can prune all this away to try and get that upright structure. So I think I will have to prune it away. I'll just have to keep everything growing upwards. So here I go. I'll start with that branch. Even if I, you know, prune some off the tip, it'll raise up a little bit. It'll come up a bit, but it won't be upright like the acacias. So I'm going to have to prune it right off. And because I'm pruning it right off, it's going to affect the width of the canopy, because that's the outermost branch. So it'll shrink the whole tree in. And I find that happens a lot when I'm pruning this, that, you know, my big canopy reduces back. But, you know, eventually it will get nice and wide and it'll be the proper structure. So it's just something you got to slowly develop it. You can't expect the tree to just suddenly, you know, grow out to the perfect shape. Just removing some of these old yellow leaves here. I'm going to remove this sucker from the trunk as the first step. I don't want it developing here and thickening up in this area. So off it comes. Like that. And there's some on the roots here that I'll have to get rid of too. you ever wanted to grow a clump style Serissa, it would be quite easy to do. They like to sucker from the roots in the base of the tree, everywhere. Okay, that's got that in check. So yeah, I've got to decide on this branch. Do I want to take it off completely? The other option is I can kind of tuck it up into the canopy. Maybe I'll try doing that. It seems to be staying up there, so if I can get it kind of up in the canopy, I will. So I do like to keep the width in the tree. There's another branch hanging down really low here. I don't think there's any saving that one, so I'll have to prune it back. So there's that branch hanging down here. You can see it. So there is some foliage up higher, but again, you know, it'll reduce the look of my canopy, the overall width of it. So I've taken that back, so there's my more upright and flat bottom to it. So it looks much better. There's one coming up the front here I can prune back. It's hanging down. There's one here too. This whole branch is kind of hanging down a bit. So I'll just have to remove all this hanging growth. There's no other option, you know, other than wire it. And then, you know, if you wire it, you don't get a lot of taper and movement. So, and the movement isn't sharp and angular like I want. So I think pruning is the best option. So yeah, that cleans up the underside quite a bit actually at the front there. I'm just taking off some of these long shoots to reduce the weight of it a bit. Like that. And takes off some of these lower leaves. That helps a bit. Yeah, at least I can see in there now from the bottom here. There's another one here that's hanging down, and this will really affect the width of my canopy. You know, this is the furthest tip on the left hand side. To take that off, there's an upright one here, so I'll just have to take that whole branch off. Here I go. So let me get in here. Yeah, here I go. That's gone. And then there's more even. There's another branch here that's got to go. And if there's, you know, if there's a branch higher up that's more horizontal or going upwards, I prune back to that. This one's still hanging down a lot here. Oh dear. And this one, you know, there's quite a hole in this area if I take this branch away, which, you know, isn't the worst thing in the world, but there is a branch behind it. I'm thinking, I don't even know if I need that branch. Kind of. It fills in this section a bit, but it'll also get filled in up top. And it's kind of an awkward branch. It comes out 90 degrees from the other branch here, and I've already got two other branches in that area. So it's a third branch, and it would allow me to come in and see the structure in here. So I'm going to get rid of it. It's going to come right off. Here I go. Gone. Yeah, that's kind of nice. I think that'll be an improvement. Now I'm looking for more low-hanging branches. There's one here. That one's got to go, like that. One starting here, that's got to go. There's a branch coming on the underside here. I don't want any more branches in this area, so I'm going to remove that one. Like that. Now, there's some low-hanging ones at the back here, so they will have to come off. One here. Like that. There's one here. I think that whole one there is too low. There's one here. I can bring this bottom part of this one off. This one's hanging too low. Take that off. So here's a branch. I'll show you this up close. There's a good opportunity to get some taper in this branch.